Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down the big ideas. Today, we're diving into something that's both fascinating and, honestly, a little urgent for anyone in education. It's the hidden paradox of using AI to learn. Let's get right into it.
You know that feeling, right? You're looking at a student's essay and it's suddenly just perfectly polished? Or a really tough coding assignment that should have taken hours is done in like minutes. Something just feels a little off.
Well, it turns out that feeling is pointing to something huge that researchers are now uncovering. It's this wild paradox where the very AI tools that help students perform better, get a better grade on a single task, might actually be making them learn less in the long run.
And look, this isn't just a theory. There was a pretty stunning real-world experiment that really gets to the heart of this whole problem.
Okay, so what they did was they took over 1,000 high school math students and just split them into two groups. Group A got to practice their math problems with help from a GenAI chatbot, like ChatGPT. Group B had to do it the old-fashioned way, no AI help at all.
And the results were, wow. During the practice sessions, the group using AI looked like superstars. They scored a massive 48% higher. But, and here's the kicker, on the final exam, when there was no AI allowed, that same group actually scored 17% lower than the students who never used it. So, better performance, but worse learning.
So what in the world is going on here? Well, this whole phenomenon is being called the mirage of false mastery. It's basically when a super high-quality result, enabled by AI, is actually hiding a huge weakness in the person's actual skills.
This is a brilliant way to think about it. We've all experienced this, right? We rely so much on spell check that we kind of forget how to spell certain words on our own. Well, GenAI is basically that, but for way more important skills, like critical thinking and problem solving.
And this leads to this really dangerous new habit that researchers are now calling metacognitive laziness. When we just let AI do the heavy mental lifting for us, we're totally short-circuiting that struggle, that effort, that's necessary to actually build lasting knowledge. And the long-term risk here is pretty serious. Imagine a whole generation entering the workforce that can't solve new problems without an AI prompt.
For decades, our entire education system has been obsessed with the final product, the polished essay, the correct answer, the final piece of code. We grade the what, but we almost never have any insight into the how.
And this is really the core of the issue. AI makes it incredibly easy, almost tempting, to just skip right to that fantastic final product. But we're skipping the messy, difficult, effortful thinking process. And that process, the planning, the drafting, the getting stuck and then unstuck, that is where the real learning actually happens.
So how do we fix this? Well, if the problem is that AI is hiding the learning process, then the solution has to be about making that process visible again and making it valuable.
This is going to require a pretty fundamental shift in how we assess students. There are new platforms, like one called Flora, that actually use learning analytics to track the entire process, the planning, the strategy, the self-correction, and then give immediate personalized feedback on that. And this feedback can be way more engaging and useful than just a letter grade. So instead of just getting a grade, imagine getting a data comic that actually visualizes your journey through a tough problem. It can highlight where your strategies worked and where you could improve. It makes the invisible process of thinking visible. And all of this brings us to the ultimate goal. The answer isn't to just ban AI. It can't be. It's to build a totally new set of essential skills for a world where AI is, well, a permanent part of our lives.
The OECD has actually identified 5 key hybrid human-AI skills that we have to start teaching explicitly. And it's about more than just using a tool. It's about developing the wisdom to use it well, knowing its strengths, its weaknesses, and most importantly, knowing ourselves well enough to know when we just need to do the thinking on our own.
So look, we're way past the debate of whether AI belongs in the classroom. The real work starts now. It's about designing our teaching and our assessments with real intention to make sure these incredibly powerful tools are used to build durable, irreplaceable human skills. The challenge isn't just to integrate AI, it's to do it in a way that makes us more, not less, human. So what are you going to do to make sure that happens?